President Uhuru Kenyatta. Since then, Kenya has seen the peace, the tranquility, the development that it has, the political stability because of the handshake.
Kenya, as much as we are known to be a peace-loving country, but just don't try us, because we'll be ready to protect, the boundaries in the waters, in land, in whichever, the boundaries we have here. We respect another country's boundaries, and that other country should respect Kenya's boundaries.
We want leaders who come out with tangible policies, tangible agendas, how they are able to make a turnaround in terms of our economy, how we are able to really to make ends meet on our own. And when leaders who are at policy level are able to make policies and laws that are convenient enough, or those that people can be able to do their businesses or go about their daily lives without.
A very good morning to you, and thank you so much for finding time to be with us today. I'm glad that you are okay. It is the 22nd day of December 2021. Christmas Day is just a few days away, and there's a lot of hustle and bustle across the CPD and indeed the city of Nairobi and across the country, and as we've seen even in the news across the world. Thank you so much. This is Good Morning Africa. My name is Miriam Ogutu, and I'll take us through quickly the headlines on the leading newspapers, and then I'll bring in my panelists. And then we do have a topic of the day where we shall be looking at President Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy. We've been highlighting a few things that the government, Jubilee government, has been doing, over the year. So we shall look at what is the latest, and we will be taking some stock on how far they've come with us. All right, so we start with the Star newspaper, and the main headline on the Star newspaper: why Ruto allies are fighting coalition bill. You'll find that on page 2 of the Star newspaper. Huduma bill to abolish immigration office. The story is on page 6 of the Star newspaper. And then, of course, the main pictorial, some head to parks, some to villages for Christmas. And you see the picture there of Kenyans, others enjoying a nice safari ride inside one of the parks in the country, and others are carrying bags and are traveling to perhaps the villages, as the Star newspaper there suggests. And then we turn our attention now to the Daily Nation. The main headline on the Daily Nation: Mudavadi joins DP Ruto to fight Uhuru Raila bill. And the story is on page 4. I want my bride price back, man tells in-laws. You'll find that on page 3. Fares rise as more Kenyans hit the road to mark festivities. That is on page 7. COVID fifth wave to infect 2 million, warn health experts, and breathalyzers to make comeback if MPs approve that bill. You'll find that on page 7. Huduma number rolling polls stars a storm, and APRO has greeted a proposal to have the Electoral Commission develop a voter register from a database with citizens' unique identifier, popularly known as Huduma number. The story is on the back page of the Daily Nation. And then we turn our attention to the Standard newspaper. The main headline of the Standard newspaper this morning: shocking confessions on police executions. Police informer lifts lead on extrajudicial killings in explosive testimony that implicates a rogue officer in the murder of human rights lawyer, his client, and their taxi driver, and other Kenyans accused of being car thieves. The story is on page 8, 9, 10, and 11 of the Standard newspaper. Music gave me fame but left me broke. You'll find that on page 3. Senate in push to cut loan appetite. That is on business page 9 of the Standard. Missionaries outwit Haiti. kidnappers. I was watching that story yesterday in one of the international media houses, and Raila Ruto allies differ on coalition timelines. The story is on page 5 and 6 of the Standard newspaper. So that is what we have on the leading newspapers this morning. So now I'd like to bring in Sharon Gitonga. I think she traveled, but she's one of our in-house panelists here, but she's joining us on location today. Sharon Gitonga, very good morning to you.
A very good morning to you, Miriam Ogutu from Nairobi. And yes, indeed, I'm out of Nairobi. I'm currently reporting live from Tharaka Nithi County, where it is quite a grey weather. It has been quite erratic because it is still raining, but nevertheless, we move on regardless. And of course, my colleague panelist Samuel Tawish, and to all our viewers who are watching us, whether it's in Kenya, Africa, and the entire globe. Good morning.
Okay, very good morning to you. For us, it was very rainy yesterday. We had such a wet and gloomy day yesterday, but today it's a bit just enough chill, but I think it's the kind of weather that I personally enjoy. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, so the Nairobian in me, appreciates, today's weather. But thank you so much. And we're also joined by Samuel Tawish, our journalist and our in-house analyst. Tawish, a very good morning to you.
A very good morning indeed to you, Miriam Ogutu. Good morning to Dr. David Masanga, and of course, my colleague panelist, Sharon Gitonga, and all our viewers watching this program. My pleasure to join you on this program.
All right, very well. And of course, Doctor will be joining us from the Political Command Center. So once he's joined us, and then we will continue with the topic of the day. But as we wait for Doc to join us, all right, the headline on the Daily Nation, Tawish, let's look at that. And I don't know if you were surprised. Mudavadi joins DP Ruto to fight Uhuru Raila bill. And a proposed law fronted by MPs allied to President Kenyatta and ODM Chief Raila Odinga that seeks to ensure a conditioned political party submits a pre-election deal 6 months to the general election has split One Kenya alliance down the middle. While Wiper's Kalonzo Musyoka and KANU's Gideon Moi are in the president's camp, and sees Musalia Mudavadi and Ford Kenya's Moses Wetangula have cast their lot with the Deputy President William Ruto. Which side will win? The story is on page 4 of the Daily Nation. As I go on looking for that story, Samuel Tawish, are you surprised by the turn of events and the sides that the two camps in OKA are now taking?
Miriam, I'm not quite surprised, and I'll never be surprised because, for one, Musalia Mudavadi or Moses Wetangula or even William Ruto are people who are known, or their credentials are known in terms of what they have been made of in terms of the politics in this country. There are people who I will say selfish because if they have noticed that maybe this particular bill or legislation that is being undertaken does not probably cater for their interests. That is why they are coming to fight against it. And I think sometimes we do not need to view legislation and making of laws as something that must suit you as an individual. But if it is being made for posterity, it is something that must call for all our attention and all our support, regardless as to whether you're going to succeed or not as an individual. I think that is very, very important. And these politicians must be reminded to that effect, that Musalia Mudavadi thinks by shouting and speaking in loud voices outside there, that is going to make any meaning or any change in as far as this legislation is concerned. The fight for or against this legislation, Miriam, is going to be won or lost on the floor of the House. It has nothing to do with the pronouncements out there that politicians are making. How many legislators that are elected on an ANC ticket or Ford Kenya, and even to that effect, how many of them are still loyal to these particular leaders that are ready to come and defend the position of their party leaders? Because again, when they look into this particular legislation, it has really nothing to do with the interest of these particular leaders, but it's for the posterity of this nation. It's for for opening up the democratic space so that people can freely engage in coalition building. And I'm very happy that the time frame is going to be set once this legislation is going to be passed, that any coalition of parties coming together must be done within 6 months prior to the election. And to that effect, therefore, we anticipate if this bill is going to sail through today, then all parties that intend to get into any coalition arrangement must do so at least by February next year, so that we do not have people who just jump ship for the sake of it just because they want to be elected. But they must get into a coalition arrangement in a one that they believe in the ideology and philosophy of that particular political outfit, and not necessarily use it as a vehicle to get into power. So Miriam, that is why you see the agitation. But that agitation, like I've said, has no meaning at all, has no significance at all, because by the end of the day, it is the numbers that are going to count. Is Mudavadi, is Wetangula, is William Ruto marshalling enough numbers to be able to floor their opponents come the debate time, I believe today in the afternoon, so that their argument can really see light of the day? I mean, that is a wait and see scenario, but I can tell you that this legislation is going to sail through, because again, the opposition that is coming from UDA and Ford Kenya and ANC has nothing to do with any other thing apart from selfishness that these leaders are depicting and displaying outrightly. So they are going to be defeated, Miriam. That one I can assure you. I submit.
Very well, thank you so much. So let me just read through a bit, Sharon, before you come in. The story is on page 4 in the Daily Nation. Amani National Congress leader Musalia Mudavadi's camp has ganged up with Deputy President William Ruto's side to fight a proposal to ensure a coalition political party submits a pre-election agreement 6 months to the general election. President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga have fronted a bill before the National Assembly to facilitate formation of a coalition party thought to be Azimio la Umoja, on whose ticket Mr. Odinga is expected to contest the presidency. But MPs allied to Mr. Mudavadi, Mr. Moses Wetangula and Dr. Ruto want to shorten the timeline for submission of the coalition agreement to 3 months to the elections, arguing that the amendment proposing 6 months is a scheme to force One Kenya Alliance to show their presidential strategy by February. One of the provisions in the Political Parties Amendment Bill, which seeks to legislate a coalition political party, is to require such a party submits a pre-election coalition agreement to the registrar of political parties 6 months to the general election. So what are the people opposed to these 6 months in a time slot before, as the deadline for submitting a pre-election agreement? They're saying, how about we make it 3 months, before the election? And of course, the argument we've been getting from DP Ruto and the people who are opposing this agreement, Sharon, is that this is something that Azimio la Umoja is trying to use to coerce people like OK leaders to try to make that decision very quick for them. So if Azimio la Umoja was not part of that conversation, do you think it would have made a difference for the people opposing this bill? Sharon, before we get back to Dr. I see has joined us.
Thank you very much, Miriam, and of course, I wish for your sentiments. Number one, I am also not, quite surprised to hear even this kind of statements coming from the two OCA principles, because it's very clear, when you look at the previous events of how they've actually been, speaking as a, one of the mouthpiece for the deputy president. Recently, we had them, trying to call out, the ICT minister and even interior minister, that is Matiang'i, for having being involved in election, talking about elections in one way or another. So when I hear such kind of sentiments coming from from them, and previously having the deputy president also castigating the same, I am also not quite surprised. But we've said here before on the importance of coalitions. When you talk about strengthening the loyalty that has not been evident in different parties, including even UDA, and not just UDA, even the ANC and even Ford Kenya. As we speak, you saw the recent Democratic Action Party that happened, and so many defections that have been happening of late. So I think the UDA and the Ford Kenya needs to come to their senses, because if you look at the positive side of it, it means that it is also going to even strengthen the loyalty and even accountability that has been there, because we are in the season of high octane politics, and everyone is defecting to a party that they feel like is going to give them more is going to give them more numbers, because politics is about interest and it's local. So when I look at the positive side of it, and I hope and rather would also wish these other parties, that is the UDA and ANC and Ford, would even look into this, because you realize our Kenyan parties have no system or governance. That is why each and every year we keep on having new ruling parties. And when I've been trying to look at how much it actually demoralizes the youth, or rather the upcoming youth that want to become upcoming leaders to even contest or even grow, because they don't even find the kind of loyalties of a party that they would want to grow with. And I've always said I would not be surprised if at any point we have UDA Asili or UDA Kenya, because if you look at the lineage of the deputy president from URP to ODM to Jubilee, and now trying to champion a different marriage, in a whole different marriage, and popularizing an agenda, without even officially quitting Jubilee. So I think they also need to look at, the positive side of it, given that it is actually going to strengthen the loyalty that has not been there in parties, and even the aspect of accountability. So I think it's just a matter of coming back to the real the real senses, and looking at the positive side of it, not just castigating each and everything that comes that comes up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Samuel Tawish, the UDA side, and those allied to Deputy President, and now we see Mudavadi and Wetangula has joined that bandwagon in opposing this bill. They're suggesting, can we have 3 months, and the other side is 6 months? Is there a way they can meet in the middle, so that maybe 4 months or something, so that both interests are served? Because in politics, there's the issue of give and take. You have to have conversations about these things and compromise about certain things for you to get some work done. Doctor, I don't know if you're ready to join us now. All right, go ahead.
I did not hear what you are saying.
We were looking at this headline of the Daily Nation, where Mudavadi and Ruto allies team up to fight ODM Jubilee coalition law. They are saying they are opposed to the 6 months that a coalition before elections that is being proposed in this new bill. They're saying perhaps 3 months would be a good idea. And I was just wondering, is there a possibility where maybe they all could come to a compromise, maybe 5, 6 months? I don't know.
Who?
Either side.
I've just looked at the headline. I didn't. You see, for me, I've told you already. Media, my stand about the Kenyan elections is very clear. And I don't need to explain more than that. I think yesterday you were not here. Sorry. I have even not put on my gadget. I'm disorganized.
Okay, so as we wait for Dr.
No, it's okay now. I think you hear me. You are still hearing me.
Yes.
Yes. My stand on the Kenyan current situation and the elections. If I were President Uhuru Kenyatta, I would not accept the elections. I would first clean the country, remove the country hate from this country. And that's why I brought that second legacy, the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta without BBI. Is it qualified legacy? Look at it. That's why we are going in that second topic. If I were, the president and the executive should look at triggers, pointers that create a conflict. Elections in Ethiopia brought a conflict, a sharp conflict between Tigray and Dr. Abiy. You know, it is after that election that he forcibly ejected all Tigray officials. You remember that? They left the capital. They were sacked, removed from all parastatal, all organizations. We are now just doing behind the scenes organization. Ourselves, initiative, personal as an African, to say, please come back and speak. Come back.
But they had issues before the election, so the election just made it worse.
No, but the election triggered. I'm not saying I know the history medium of Tigray and the Oromo of Ethiopia. I know it very well here because I've lived with all of them in exile. I've seen them in London. I know them 100%. I know it. But the trigger, which I'm saying, medium, was the final nail came when this guy formed a new party and, you know, what do I call it? He left all the previous prime ministers. He abandoned, the word I was looking for. He abandoned the policies of Zenawi and the policies of this other gentleman. What is the former prime minister who is very soft-spoken? They had united the country. They had united the country. The country was together. You couldn't go to Addis Ababa and know the difference. You couldn't. But elections, this sharpness of bringing in electoral serious difficulties, obstacles, hate, it ignited a very big crisis in Ethiopia. So for me, the first thing that I would do, that I would say as an African, from where I am, you people are in Nairobi, in your general headquarters, Miriam, and you are the voters. I'm not the voter. I'm a friend of Jubilee Party, or President Uhuru Kenyatta as a friend of the party of Jubilee Party. And that's it. I give advice. I'm like the Communist Party. The Communist Party doesn't vote in Kenya. The Communist Party doesn't. The Communist Party doesn't vote in Kenya. The Communist Party does not vote. It doesn't vote at all, but it gives advice. It gives support to Jubilee Party. So I will give my support to the party. But if I were His Excellency, if I were His Excellency, I would not accept an election in Kenya for now. You know why? There is a lot of hatred, Miriam. There is a lot of bad speech. There is a lot of very dangerous maneuvers. There is a lot of Mudavadi. We haven't cracked Mudavadi yet. We shall crack him. We know why he's speaking with strength. And I've been telling my friends here jokingly that, and some of them think that Matraga is a joker. I'm not. I'm not. Some of the people who underrate me in the Jubilee Party now start seeing the truth, which I told you. I warned the people that Mudavadi is a judge, is being paid by George Soros. And the people did not listen to me. They thought it's a joke. And when you tell these officials, they just think it is a joke. Stupidity. Now, do they ask any of them? Do they know where the money came from? Why? Do you know why Mudavadi is speaking so boldly? Do you know? Can you ask any of those officials to tell you? Can you? I've been telling them I've been writing on, I've not hidden. I've been writing on my book. Miriam, haven't you read my social media? I've told people for almost 2 years, there is a group in Kenya that is benefiting directly from the dollars of George Soros. And that group is Mudavadi Group. They split with Baraka Muruka himself told me in Kempisk why they split. I don't tell lies. Now we have reached a point. Those who thought I was telling a lie, that's why I'm laughing. Don't you see? Jesus is going to be born on Saturday. Let me suffer. I'm a Gentile speaking to the Jews. If you go and read Paul, the Philippians, I think by now, Tawish and Miriam, you have read a letter to the Philippians. You will find my words. I'm a Gentile preaching to the Jews. That's all I can tell you. Mudavadi is now directly funded. He has been told they will fund his presidential bid. He doesn't like. And in case there is a draw, Mudavadi will not come to Raila. Mudavadi will go to Ruto. Why? In Ruto's office, there is a George Soros axis called Singoye. Singoye, Abraham Singoye. You Kenyans don't want to hear. Some of you in Kenya, you don't want to hear. Miriam, bye-bye, handle your show. And I am gone. I just want to go and do my things. I'm fed up. You don't want to hear. Some of us will be massacred here for nothing. I'm telling you, people are not, I have told them. Now you see, you tell me here now. That link of George, do you know why people are confident? Do you know why people are confident to the extent that they can go and vote even, do you know that Uda Party can vote even a person who cannot speak English? Or English is not a problem because it's not our language. But at least that MP could have used Swahili. If you don't know English, I can't blame anybody of not speaking English because English is a second language that you learn. But you have a mother Swahili tongue. If you have gone to school in Kenya, you must know some Swahili. Even me, Matanga, I write words in Swahili. I was taught Swahili in my, it came later on in a senior secondary school in 1970, when it was 73, when I was in senior 3 going to senior 4, when they introduced Swahili as a East African language. But for me, if you put me to write Luganda, if I was to speak in Luganda in the Uganda parliament, somebody might think I come from Masaka. Because it was a subject taught to us. But because people want to have the numbers in order for George Soros to clap and say you have mobilized the country with wheelbarrows, I'll give you the money. Now, Mudavadi was part of he went to US, they became partners with George Soros. 2 months they were in US, they came back with plenty of money to mobilize to start this campaign about 2 years ago. They did not agree with Raila. They don't want anything to do with Uhuru. We kept on pumping them. Some of them have benefited from this government more than my side. Who is ever here talking until I collapse on the television? Yes, time has come for me to also speak my mind. Yes, they have benefited. There's no time of pushing these guys anymore. Mudavadi will not vote with Raila. Let him go to Ruto and we face him, period. We shall defeat him in Vihiga. As long as I'm alive, we shall defeat him. I don't want to say like a trolley. He's not worth an elder in Luyaland, that boy Mudavadi. He's not. He should not threaten everybody. He's the only the big mass. Let him work on the mine. Haven't you seen the way I'm working on mine? Yes. Miriam of late, you haven't seen me. When you see me in the new year, you like me. Exactly. Your boss is no longer the boss you saw. The boss can run now at the age of 66. Yes, doing very well. Don't you see the face glittering? Mudavadi, you are wasting time on Mudavadi. Well, Mudavadi is part and a parcel of Ruto through George Soros' axis. Full stop. Leave him. And let's work with somebody else. This man is not going to come back. Mudavadi knows that Waluya, it is very difficult for a Luya to connect with Mr. Ruto. I want to tell you the truth. These lawyers who are making noise, they will not be there. It is only Didmas, Baraza, Waluke, who are, some of them are criminals. They have to hide under Ruto because they have to hide under the government that will cover them. Waluke was supposed to be sentenced how many years? But he has to hide under Ruto. Waluke might even jump Ruto when he sees that the vote is swinging somewhere. He will jump him. That's why they don't want this law. This law now strengthens no jumping, no die. If you are defeated in the primaries, don't jump and stand as independent, isn't it? So what you tell me? My sister tell me that Mudavadi, this thing happened a long time. Mudavadi has been piling money. It is the cause of the division in ANC. Erwaro, Mudavadi, Barak, they all went to US. Baraka was the Secretary General. They disagreed because Mudavadi's wife is the controller. When the money came, she controlled. Before you get money from Mudavadi, you must address Mama nicely. Mama, how did you sleep last night? Are you okay? Then the money can come. Tawish, I don't know whether you do that, but I am sorry, I'm a real African man. Zangu zinakuwa kwa mfuko na ulala nazo kwa wallet. Miriam, don't, you see those signs are just worrying me. What is your problem? Zangu zinakufa nazo kwa wallet. Hiyo mambo ya kuambia mimi, mama, can I give them something? No. No. My sister, no. If I...
Doc, that only means that Mudavadi is a very happy man. When you have your helper helping you, because that is what we are meant for. That means he's happy. He doesn't have to stress out on these other things. You just live your life, and then I'll help you manage.
Whoever is going to inherit, I understand. Whoever is going to inherit Mudavadi will inherit the burden. Ruto can carry the burden of Mudavadi because Mudavadi cannot win a vote. He has tried, and you saw we counted his vote. Tuambiane ukweli, nyinyi gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Tuambiane ukweli, you are Kenyans. Mudavadi tried. You saw the number of votes he got. He even lost in Vihiga. They didn't vote for him because he eats alone. Mutu anakula peke yake. In Vihiga, if you put Mudavadi to stand as the chairman for that party's MCA, he will collapse. He will collapse. Vihiga. Mudavadi cannot win a Vihiga MCA seat because the people in the ward don't like him. The behavior has been so bad. So you can carry the burden. Ruto can carry that burden. They have muzzled. You see, for me, we are already discussing the legacy. In the legacy of Uhuru Kenyatta, they have muzzled. Ruto has captured the judiciary and the LSK. Thanks, yesterday, one LSK was thrown out. Harvey can now beg. You know, Harvey has started even asking people to pay bill number. He has that syndrome of Congolese, you know, who ask for help when they have the money. You know, Congo asks for money for elections when they can afford it. They sell one ton of diamonds, they can't get it. But because they are corrupt, they ask for money from abroad. That's avenue for you. Me, I would not come to Kenya to buy an identity card. I've never bought an identity card in Kenya that to look like a Kenyan. That's why they call me 20,000 names a day. Hippo, big man, fat guy, go home, foreigner. Fine. But I suffer because I see the truth. I'm a tiger. I'm not a tiger. I'm giraffe. I see far. I've seen far. And this election that you call medium election is no election. Look, have you read the headline of the People's Daily? The Electoral Commission chairman, IEBC, Tawish, has no money to run an election. Is that an election? Have you read the headline of the People Day? So what, Miriam, you are wasting time here, and you and me, we are wasting time talking about what election? Is this? This is just a war theater being planned. First, people did not want BBI, which could have brought them together. Uhuru Kenyatta's BBI would have brought people together. And Uhuru Kenyatta is telling you, it will be BBI or not. At one stage, BBI, all Kenyans will say, no, don't give us a bad election. A bad election in Africa is equivalent to a war. I've given you an example where a bad election, I can give you even 20 examples. Look at Ivory Coast. They prepared a bad election. It was equivalent to a war. The country was smashed. Abidjan was the best capital where I used to go and sip my cognac with beautiful ladies there in Abidjan from Ivory Coast. For those who don't know where Abidjan is, you sit in one Sheraton hotel, you are like in Paris. It went down. If you go there, you might think you are sitting in a old Stone Age. Where are we? Where are we? Elections destroyed that country. Another country where elections has destroyed, South Sudan. Look at it. Everybody was opposed. Riek Machar started saying constitutional changes. I want this. You want to change, reform. Salva Kiir said, I'm not reforming SPLA and SPLM. Wasn't that the trigger, Miriam? Wasn't that the trigger? Yeah, the trigger started on constitutional reforms to change the party, to form a new changes to bring progressive things in the party. We lost. elections in Africa kill legacies. President Uhuru Kenyatta wants to leave a legacy. He must handle this election perfectly. Mudavadi wants to join Ruto. Let him go to hell. Go. Let's not even waste our saliva and money. Even the time that we are going to sit down with him. This guy will not change. He has seen George Soros' dollar. What will you change him on? Ameona dollar. Namna hivi. There is nothing in George Soros which happens, which I don't get. Well, even if they have just given you $10, I will know. Don't ask me how, but I'm also an operative. Open Society Foundation is fully fledged in Kenyan politics. There are parties that are being funded direct money. Last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I discovered money on Zimbabwe. I alerted the government in Zimbabwe. They found the money. Yes. Didn't you hear that? 6 million. Didn't you hear that? They found it. The chairman of the NGOs in Zimbabwe was eating. In fact, he hammered the money. And the police said, hallelujah, thank you very much. If it is free money, you just give us some. George Soros sponsors people like Mudavadi. So if you are, where can Mudavadi get money now to campaign? They want $4 billion. Kenya shilling, can he have it? Unless a hand has arrived from somewhere. And that hand, I have told you already. Don't look far, look here. Me on Raila, on this time, on Azimio, La Moja, I'm part and a parcel. Unity for Kenya is better than elections of a Republic of Kenya. I'm telling you, if you don't do 5 ingredients, 1, accountability, 2, truth telling, 3, reparation, 4, restitution, 5, healing. It forms what we call a redemption strategy. Less than that, go to hell. Am I clear? Miriam, have I been clear? Can I repeat those things for people so that my panel can next time hear my voice? Wherever where you are talking, hear my voice. 1, accountability. 2, truth telling. 3, restitution. 4, reparation. 5, reconciliation. And the 6th one is healing. Once you have done this, then you can throw an election and go. Even President Uhuru Kenyatta can put up his legs on a sofa set and say, let them vote. He will not matter. Once people have reconciled, once people have restituted, once people have done reparations, once people have done truth telling, once people have done accountability, Miriam, if they have not done accountability, how are they going to vote who? You go and create a police station and write your name. Dr. Matsanga's police station in Kimilili. Will it serve you or it serves the public? Are you seeing this, Kirimi? Are you seeing this, Sharon? Are you seeing this, Sam Tawish? Are you seeing it, Mama, from that good place of Siaya? You go and build a police station in Siaya and call it Miriam Ogutu's police station. Here, you are telling me election. Which election is this? Which election you prepare to fight? Some of us are going away. Then we shall hear. But remember my words. I'm not going to be part of this stupidity. Remember my words. You have not restituted. Somebody is cooking food in a house of a man who is living as a squatter in Nairobi. And you are going to drive towards Malaba, you see your house where you used to live 60 years. Someone is cooking food, there is smoke, and you are in Nairobi, you are hiring a place in Gorogocho. You used to own land there. You want an election now. Which election is this? Nyinyi wa Kenya mniambie. You Kenyans tell me which election. Unless I studied the wrong political science lesson. Then I can tear my degrees and throw them to you. I go home and don't call me as a person who is educated. It's not, you can't say you are preparing an election when you don't even have the money to do certain things. You have allowed Wafula Ogutu, Wafula Chebukati to go and print ballot papers from a printing press introduced by Ruto's agents who are married to the owner of the printing press in Greece, and you call this an election. Jamen, you prepare it. I'm sorry. Prepare it. God bless you. Uhuru Kenyatta has laid a foundation. Miriam, let me submit. A legacy of His Excellency is there. The infrastructure is there. If you come to Nairobi today and see that road that is running overshadowing the whole city of Nairobi and other roads where traffic is being diverted and the city becoming clean. I listened to one of the senators, Oladama Lakina, saying clinics are springing everywhere. Some of these people, do they drink alcohol before they come down to the chamber to debate? Senator of Narok, a great man that I thought was reasoning like a baby yesterday in the Senate, that Uhuru has grown a lot of clinics. But these clinics here help people in Nairobi. The rubbish that is being collected, and you see a resemblance of Nairobi coming back because of Major General Badi. Give Uhuru Kenyatta a thumbs up. But you come and demonize Uhuru Kenyatta because you don't like him. He has done his best. One day, you'll sit down while driving on that road. Driving from Jomo Kenyatta Airport, 10 minutes past, you are already in Westlands. You are already enjoying your breakfast in the hotel you want. Look at it, how many hotels are going to be built around there, Kikuyu land up there. We are expanding because that is an infrastructure. I submit, Miriam.
All right, Doc, thank you so much for that. And I see we've been joined by Douglas Kirimi this morning. Douglas, nice to see you and a very good morning to you.
A very good morning to you, Miriam Ogutu, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and Dr. David Masanga, and also for Sisana Taulishi Samuel, and also to Sharon Getonga. A very good morning to all of you.
Okay, thank you so much for that, and good morning to you. So we've been looking at the headlines, but we've also started looking at our topic of discussion this morning, and that is President Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy. And we know the BBI this year did not get a chance to succeed or go to a referendum as it was thought. So I don't know where this leaves us as a country.
Miriam, for us as a country, we have been able to lose a lot in terms of what goodies we have received from the very BBI that has been opposed by Deputy President William Ruto and his brigade. But interestingly, Miriam, after the fall of BBI, the same people who are Deputy President William Ruto are the same proponent of increased revenue to counties, expansion of the executive, and they have been giving their own irreducible minimums to presidential contenders, especially for those people that are running from different parts of the country coming to the Mount Kenya region that has actually lost over 53 billion shillings, annually, as exposed by the BBI. When we look at the same people who were opposed to BBI are the same people giving ultimatums to presidential contenders and actually asking that their very first 100 days in government should be permitted by a change of the constitution or a change of our constitution so that we can be able to accommodate some of the provisions of BBI. Are the same people who have been now moving from one radio station, one social media account to another, one TV station to another, telling us that over 70% of the BBI report was good for the country, was good for the region, but the opposite when we needed BBI. When our hour of need came, these people deserted us, and now they are propagating the same ideals and the same processes or the same tenets of the very report that they opposed in this country, and especially in our Mount Kenya region. We have lost over 53 billion shillings in terms of money that would have come for development in this region, and actually over 10 counties have lost over 53 billion shillings and other social amenities that would have been permitted by the BBI report, Miriam. When, as a country, we are at crossroads, many tribes or many ethnic balkanization has been done for so many places in this country, the solution would have been BBI, where we would have expanded the executive and accommodated as many communities or as many individuals as possible for and behalf of those people, Miriam. Because at the end of the day, as Douglas indicated, the way I look at these things is not the same way a commoner, an Ichamas, a Samburu, a Mesai, a Kikuyu, or a man looks at things the way the BBI and they're supposed to be for. Because Miriam, I might be accommodative, I might be tolerant, but there are people who are not tolerant as long as their community is not represented. Representation of the people are the people and their aspirations means that has been voted when the BBI process was stopped. Me, myself, and others, we agree that the people of Kenya have lost big time in terms of representation, fair distribution of resources, and equal opportunities for all. The Youth Commission that was to be enshrined in the Constitution as exposed by the BBI report has been able to be struck off. These are things that would have benefited this country and taken us forward, Miriam. And I believe political tolerance, political representation, equal distribution of resources, social integration, and people living together in unity were things that we have missed in the BBI report that we might miss even in the next dispensation or the next regime. But we pray that BBI will come back before we lose this country as we know it, because Miriam, BBI was a panacea to many problems that that have engulfed this country and that have engulfed the political scene in this country. The political arena in this country is in total limbo, is in total confusion, but the BBI would have sought to correct some of the very, very, very prominent or very major problems that we have been able to be dealing with over a period of time, Miriam, especially political representation, especially for distribution of resources, especially for us people in Mount Kenya who have been championing one man, one sharing kind of a policy in government, Miriam, because we want numbers to count. We don't want an area to count in this country. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And there are a couple of issues, Douglas Kiringi, that you brought up in that. Sharon Gitonga, I don't know if you can hear me, but Douglas Kiringi has reminded us of a couple of articles that are contained in this BBI that has to do with the youth, and I think the innovation centers, the incubation, centers that were to be set up, and maybe the monies that were supposed to be increased to go to the counties. And, some Kenyans have been arguing, and maybe this is one of the strategies that will be used with the proponents of the BBI, because we know out of the 75 articles that are in the BBI, 53 of them can actually be passed through Parliament, as even the people opposed to the whole process of the BBI agree that some of these articles that are contained in this BBI could actually be very beneficial to Kenyans. And so perhaps the people who are supporting this, if they brought some of these things in Parliament and passed them through Parliament for the benefits of Kenyans, I mean, 53 out of 75, I should, start looking at taking another route to ensure that, some of these things Kenyans can benefit from. Sharon.
Thank you very much, Miriam, and of course, Douglas Kirimi, for your sentiments. And I agree largely with what he has actually talked about. What the BBI was meant to, cut across is exactly what different leaders who are actually trying to use it right now to champion their different manifestos. And of course, he's talked about the expansion of the executive and increasing revenues, especially at the grassroots, different representation, and of course, equal distribution of resources. And the other day I had the Deputy President talking about a stimulus package that seeks to have around 54 billion to actually make sure that it facilitates the youth. But the biggest question was, I think this is what was meant to be on the BBI, but be as it may, I think the President made it quite clear the other day during was it Jamhuri Day, where he talked about BBI might having encountered legal obstacles, but it was just a dream deferred, and one day it is going to happen. Just as a country cannot be able to survive the ethnic balkanization and exclusion, it can it cannot also survive unfair and skewed representation. So there's still hope that BBI is gonna come back, but nevertheless, I think the President has really been at the forefront to achieve so much, especially when you talk about the manufacturing industry and infrastructure. So be as it may, I am still optimistic that one day, no one who knows when or the time, but I believe it's going to come back. So I am quite optimistic, and I think he has really done a very commendable job. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sharon. Samuel Sawish, I mean, you could still find a way of passing some of these articles for the benefit of Kenyans, even as we wait for perhaps the whole process to be restarted again.
Yes, absolutely, Miriam, and I think all of us agree that it's very, very important, and the foundation upon which BBI was brought into place was to actually bring a healing to the many problems and challenges that this country has been facing or has been facing for quite some time. But given that the courts have now halted it, it being at the Supreme Court, now we are waiting to see how the same is going to be deliberated. But again, that would have been the biggest, of course, reward that President Uhuru Kenyatta wanted really to hand over to Kenyans as part of his legacy, even as he retires as president next year. But again, Miriam, we understand that there have been a lot of challenges, a lot of hurdles, of course, most of which you will say are by design, that there are people and there are elements, even within President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration, those who are supposed to really support his agenda, who have been hell-bent in bringing him down and making sure that each and every of his agenda is really frustrated. We've seen that essentially with BBI and how it's been frustrated. We've seen so many of the President Uhuru Kenyatta's initiatives, especially those which he had hoped so much to use as a means to achieve most of his legacy projects. But again, I will say this far President Kenyatta has achieved so much, and between now and the time he'll be retiring as president, we expect as he continues to do, that he'll be able really to achieve all this. And that is why you see, even when you look into this amendment that is being carried out today in Parliament, you cannot quite understand. You will struggle to understand why lawmakers in their right mind, in their sane mind, will come and oppose such a very, very critical and important aspect of legislation. One, which seeks to cure a problem that even Deputy President William Ruto's camp itself has been finding a very big problem. You remember what we have experienced in this country in the past. Like, for example, the formation of the NASA coalition. You remember, Miriam, what happened with it? I mean, we did not have a structure in the formation of that particular coalition to an extent that even a presidential candidate in the NASA, in the National Super Alliance, in the run-up to 2017 general election, had to be sponsored by ODM as a party. You had a running mate drawn from the Wiper Party, but his name cannot be captured as being sponsored by Wiper Party, but he has to ride on an ODM ticket as a running mate to a presidential contender. So in this case, if we are going then to strengthen some of these loose ends in as far as these political parties act is concerned, we are then going to see where, when you form a coalition, you are going to have a presidential candidate and a running mate going by the name of that particular coalition, and not individual parties like we have seen in the past. Look, for instance, the infights and what they are framed as lack of trust within. Of course, the formation of these coalitions, particularly in the NASA coalition, that even so, the fallout of the partner parties, that is the ANC, Ford Kenya, Wiper, and ODM, because they talked of, for example, the distribution of the political parties fund, and which some of the parties felt like they contributed largely to the votes, like the votes that maybe Raila Amolo Odinga got in 2017 general election. But how come they are not entitled to get a share of the political parties fund? So I suppose this legislation that is being carried out is really in good faith and is for the posterity of this nation, and it has nothing to do with any selfish agenda as is being peddled by those who are the critics of this particular legislation. So I agree that for this country to move forward, really, Miriam, there's much that needs to be done, let alone the issue of even this amendment that we are having today. In terms of even those issues that were anchored in the Building Bridges initiative, so much of these things really have to be revisited, be it next year, regardless of how the Supreme Court is going to really rule. And I'm very happy that President Uhuru Kenyatta and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga have demonstrated their will and, of course, commitment to ensure that whichever way it goes, even at the Supreme Court, that there will be an avenue to revisit and bring back BBI, maybe in a different formation altogether, because whatever was captured in there really was what most Kenyans really look up to as what captures their aspiration. Say, for example, giving more funding to the counties, giving allocation to the ward, to the ward, so that even each of our wards in this country are able to carry out their own developmental projects in order of priority, in whichever way they deem it fit. Look, for example, a tax exemption for students who are getting out of universities, or people who are starting up businesses, or even getting into jobs, employment. I mean, these are very, very good things, Miriam, that anyone would really have supported. Look at onto the proposal of 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling, that mostly the Mount Kenya people who are going to benefit a lot. And the Deputy President William Ruto coming out and saying he has the interests of the people of Mount Kenya at heart. You cannot understand how he's been fighting all these proposals when indeed it was going to cure so many of the things the people of Mount Kenya felt like it was putting them at a disadvantage. So I largely agree that so much still needs to be done, even as we continue to ponder as to whether we're going to have the election in August next year or not, because it's still in uncertainty. Looking into the lack of preparedness by IEBC, I mean, even the politicians themselves are not agreeing on so many things, including even some of the proposals, like the ones, the legislation that are being carried out today, Miriam. So in itself tells you that as a country and as a people, we are not even quite prepared to conduct that election. So it's quite a challenging moment for Kenya, defining moment for that matter, that only calls for statesmanship, for people to be able to put aside their selfish interests for the posterity and for the good interests of this nation. I submit, Miriam.
All right, thank you so much. And I think a couple of issues that you brought up, I think those are articles that can be debated in Parliament and passed in there. I think there's just a few that were contentious that we really need a referendum to pass. And that will be the expansion of the executive that we know was contentious, the increase in constituencies that we know also was contentious, and how Parliament is constituted, among other few articles there. I see, Douglas, you wanted to say something before I bring in Doctor.
And Miriam, just before Douglas comes in, if I may just have a minute to add on something. Look unto the malaise and the mischief that was being, of course, peddled by the critics of the Building Bridges initiative. When you say that expanding the architecture in as far as governance is concerned, that you're creating the opposition for Raila Amolo Odinga, you're creating a position for Musalia Mudavadi or Kalonzo Musyoka, was it going to be premised on this constitutional change that we are changing this clause in our constitution to include Raila Amolo Odinga? Was his name going to be captured in this? Sometimes we need to be a bit intelligent enough really to be able to read the mischief that these politicians sometimes try to peddle, just to paint a very good initiative in bad faith and create a state of disaffection against the proponents of such very, very critical and important, of course, initiative that would have defined, of course, the fate of this nation. It's very, very unfortunate that we have such kind of people as our politicians and as our leaders, people who are not putting the interests of our country first, people who are only but thinking how their ambitions and how they are going to advance their careers, regardless of how many people they are going to step on, regardless whether there are so many of the things that must be sacrificed so that they can just get a smooth ride to State House or to power, Miriam.
Okay, thank you. Douglas, you can come in now.
Miriam, I have a very huge problem when it comes to the UDA brigade and also their members of parliament. They have 167 members of parliament who arrived to UDA and who are serving actually in parliament today, according to Dr. William Ruto, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Now, if they have 167 members of parliament who arrived to UDA, instead of campaigning right, left, center, north, west, south, and east of this country, William Ruto should have brought these members of parliament to the fore, and he would have sent them to parliament, and they would have debated the articles that are supposed to be debated in parliament. Whatever is supposed to be done from parliament, they would have done that excellently, such that when we are going into the next general election, William Ruto would have a scorecard on BBI. He would tell the people of Kenya, look here, Uhuru Kenyatta brought something to the people for a referendum that should have been done from parliament. I did that. And this is supposed to have been done from parliament. And when it's supposed to be done, he said this was supposed to be done through a referendum. And we have done this through parliament, through the numbers that we have. We can be trusted in the next UDA government. This government wanted a referendum that is costly, but I sent my members of parliament what they have been paid to do by the people of Kenya for public good and for their welfare and for their own good. And William Ruto would have actually scored in the eyes of the people of Kenya. He would have scored in the very, very, very democratic sense that William Ruto is a Democrat and is a leader who is committed actually to proper utilization of public funds, such that we do not want to waste money in a referendum. But William Ruto, what is he doing? William Ruto wakes up every morning, showers and dresses very nicely, and starts shouting UDA and tells people BBI was bad for this country. My government is going to give you a stimulus package. My government is going to talk from bottom up to now. Politicians, we are going to make sure that we get everyone on board. But William Ruto, the very tenants that owed this country, issues of governance and actually issues that matter to the people of Kenya are very far away from William Ruto. This is a power-angry hybrid dictator, if I may call him that, who does not want actually to utilize the numbers that he keeps screaming on TV that he has 107,100 people that he can be able to use and be able to push the agenda that pushes the interests of the people of Kenya to the fore and saves Kenyans an expensive referendum. For me, Miriam, from where I sit, whatever protests that are coming from the UDA camp or the camp that is led by the President William Ruto is a camp that is in pretense, is a camp that pretends a lot, and we cannot be able to stomach that anymore because Miriam, he has not used his own numbers in parliament to articulate those issues and be able to push for the same, for the benefit, for the public good, and the welfare of the people of Kenya. Thank you.
Okay, Miriam, just a minute if I could add something to what Douglas has talked about, of leaders who actually do not have any interest of the people at heart. And I'm reminded of a statement that, the former Prime Minister actually made during the NDC convention in Kasarani. And he actually said, for him, he's not running for presidency to oppose anyone, but to actually propose better policy. And he's actually not at war with any personalities, but at war with ideologies that will actually leave this nation, that would any war with ideologies that would put this nation into the wrong direction. So I think, and I wish people would look into the character and integrity of the different kind of leaders that have in place, people that are going to put the interest of the people at heart and not their own interest. Leaders that have or about creating value creation and not value destruction. As I finish, I was seeing yesterday, I think he was actually in Tana River, where was even saying that it is a pity that more than half a century, even after independence, people in some parts of countries such as Kilifi still die of hunger. But what he actually forgot to tell us that, he sits, he actually chairs the Intergovernmental Budgetary and Economic Council. What exactly happened to, Gulana and Kulalu irrigation scheme? So I think we need to get to a point where we actually hold these kind of rogue leaders to the highest level of accountability. And lately, he's been talking about track records for different leaders, and he doesn't really come out clean to tell us what exactly has been able to achieve for the last 9 years that he has been actively in office. Apart from using the state machinery to campaign and even castigate the work that the president has been doing, let people, kind of leaders to the highest level of accountability before, being swayed by the politics of euphoria and politics of demagoguery. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Doc. Of course, we're looking at President Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy and what lessons can we learn as a country without BBI. And perhaps a question, Doc, that I'd like to put forth in regards to that, maybe a bit of a departure from that topic, but perhaps what are some of the lessons that the proponents or the leaders of the BBI process can learn from what we've seen happen and, to where we are here today? What are some of the valid lessons you think perhaps the government and Raila Odinga, the people who've been leading this process, can learn from some of the things that have come up throughout the BBI process? Yes. You're muted.
Miriam, there are so many things that are distracting me from.
Can see that you're already preparing for your holiday. I can see that you're coordinating things there, but just one question.
Are you just mocking me?
No. You seem busy. I'm joking, but okay. Which holiday is here? I'm saying I'm okay. I'll pray. But yeah, the lessons that perhaps the proponents and the supporters of the BBI, the people who are leading this process, do you think there are any valid lessons they've learned throughout the process and where we are today with this process?
You mean the people?
Yes.
The BBI proponents or opponents?
Yes.
We have to learn quite a number of lessons. Both sides have to learn these lessons. Those opposing and those proposing. That one, if this BBI does not work, Kenya might not work. We are now going back, even doing piecemeal. I've had a quarrel in parliament. You know why I'm distracted? While you people were talking, I'd muted to listen to what was going on in parliament. I find it very ridiculous. 25 members of UDA in parliament shouting, trying to make everybody not to talk. Just now they have made parliament look like they want to fight. So there is a problem here. We are coming back to mutilate what was already, I don't know whether Tawish has said that word because I can see him, smiling. we are taking pieces from the BBI and trying to make it. Why didn't we agree with BBI? The courts have made a ruling. The courts were influenced. The courts are captured in this country. You should not tell anybody that courts are independent here. The courts are not independent in their decisions because the courts rule with people. They don't rule in a vacuum. You rule and watch at the life. You can't hold an election today in Kenya when you have not made people's tempers cool down. The tempers are there. Suspicion is in Kenya. Plenty of suspicion in Kenya. Anything you touch on as far as politics is concerned in Kenya, you will be opposed. The state has fragmented. Someone has put the knife on the state institutions that everything has fragmented, Miriam. Right from the transport section, right from LK, look at the LSK, look at the industries, look at the political parties, look at the state has fragmented. If you bring a good proposal, like a proposal of parties expanding how to share the money, you go in a coalition with another party. But the Political Party Act, which gives money for democracy, enhancement of democracy in Kenya, it gives enhancement of democracy in Kenya. It has one problem. The money is not given to other smaller parties. Mudavadi, Kalonzo, and others, and the Wetangula have been fighting for a share of the money that ODM got. But there's no direction, not even a law in our books that forces ODM that if you don't give this money, we shall take you to court. So the parliament is trying to straighten it out such that when you enter in a coalition with another party, you must give them something when you are given, even if they don't win a seat. It means you are all partners working together. People don't. Wasn't that what BBI wanted to address? BBI wanted to address that. BBI wanted to bring down all those type of discussions. When you say, my money, ODM would ask you how much. What would you say? We were given 60 million. How much do you want from 60 million? We are given, was it given 600 million? Was it? Yes. 600 million. How much do you want from 600 million? Where is your MOU? So this time, a political act, an act of parliament that says each party within the coalition becomes a partner of that particular coalition. Therefore, when the money comes down, you distribute the money accordingly. People don't want that, Miriam, at the moment. So tuko ubaya. The situation is not very good. The proponents and opponents, both of them, if they are not careful, they have a problem. The opponents, I think the proponents were very clear. They wanted more money for Mount Kenya. A shilling for a vote. 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling. You can't give 1 man, 1 vote, then 0 shilling. How? The population of Kiambu is almost 2.5 million people. The votes coming from Kiambu can make a candidate pass. But the people voting, the services, when they go to queue out for medicine or schools in Kiambu roads, they don't have. So yet you have already pumped equal money around So BBI was addressing one man, one shilling, one vote, which is anchored in international voting rights, suffrage. It's a suffrage. One man, one vote. Is one you don't have to have one man, two votes, or one man double for the other one. No. Let there be a shilling for vote. If Kiambu has 2.5 million people, let each person have a shilling. If Isiolo has 300,000 people, let each person have a shilling. And if you think that you want to equalize, you have the equalizer fund. That's why BBI wanted to set a ceiling. You have it. That is 35,000%, 35%. That is the law. That's it. That's what BBI wanted to clean, to bring back. People refused. People refused BBI because it was going to arrest them. BBI would arrest them because BBI was talking tough on a corruption media. Yes, some people fear corruption. Judges will come. Corruption, oh, you helped me. Go look at the general managers who have lost their jobs. All of them are gone to UDA. Everybody who has lost a job in Kenya is with UDA. They are forming a club of thieves. Then they can come and fight us. They win the vote. In Africa, Keita, the president of the current Mali.
The former.
The late president of.
No, if read away, Ibrahim Boubacar Keita, he was removed and he left.
No, there is Madio Keita.
Okay. The
founder, the first president of Mali. This guy came later. He said, in Africa, we love thieves. And we have formed clubs of that if we have, I think if I can get the quote, I read for you, or I can refer you to read while I talk. You got I've quoted it on my timeline. You will find it. It is there, the one of, I put it yesterday. It's very, very, very good. He said, we love thieves. We even vote thieves. We know they are thieves from our own homes. But we say, take the power. He died in 1974. Not this Keita, the one who was moved by the military, short guy. So, look, we are at that crossroads. How we shall manage to come out of the crossroads, only God will tell us. But the truth is, it is not going to be business as usual. They rejected these reforms. The reforms will come down to haunt them. How are you going to conduct the elections? Mr. Kiroba has started sweeping changes, scrolls down radio stations. He's now working like the CA of.
I was just seeing that in one of the papers this morning. A couple of media houses have been closed down. So yes. Yeah, a cleanup.
It's a cleanup. I am shocked that Capital FM did not even have Capital FM did not even have a license. How? It is sad, very sad. So that is the situation we are facing, Miriam. For me, I don't have anything much.
No, before we finish though, there's a point that you brought up when it comes to the fight against corruption. And we know, the BBI had very specific, ways in which, it was proposing and how, the country should start dealing with corruption very effectively. And very good proposals in there, on corruption particularly. And we know if some of these things were to be debated in Parliament, they will not see the day of light. So perhaps, and we've had this conversation before, maybe some of the people who are opposed to this, to the BBI, perhaps it's the suggestions or the proposals that have been included there on corruption that they really don't like, but because they cannot come out outrightly and say, no, that really might affect us, or that really is a bit punitive. So they're using other articles, to say that they don't want the BBI, but it could be just because they're afraid of some of those proposals there, when it comes to the fight against corruption, because we know that if it was to be debated in Parliament, it will never pass. It will never pass. And that's why because we have laws that are really have so many loopholes. Like, I still struggle to understand, Doctor, why Waluke is still a member of Parliament. Why is still okay.
And Miriam, this is what they are now opposing. You look at Alice Wahome is talking on Parliament now.
I'm watching her.
Watch Alice Wahome saying, Waluke, after stealing money and convicted in court,
I struggle to understand, why he's still walking around here. So we need laws that are effective in the fight against corruption, and some of those proposals are contained in the BBI. So maybe that's why a lot of these people do not want, because they don't want anything punitive, anything effective when it comes to the fight against graft, and so they hide against these other proposals in the BBI, because it's easier to say.
And Miriam, in fact, even before Dr. Masanga comes in, and I want quite to agree with you 100% on this, Miriam, that this was the hidden jab behind these people's rejection of the BBI. And that is why you see they continue to fight it tooth and nail. That is why they continue to oppose it vehemently, not because it was going to create positions, because in any case, what is it that Deputy President William Ruto is looking for? Is it not the same power he's talking about? Is it not the same power that is fighting, campaigning, moving all over the country and dishing out money every other time to every other organization, to every other gathering? For the simple reason is that he's looking for the same power that is castigating other people for looking for it, Miriam. So the bottom line here is the reason why these people were opposing BBI and still oppose BBI was not because it was going to expand the executive, not because it was going to have more additional funding to the counties, not because it was going to give more money to the wards, not because it was going to give a tax relief to people who are starting up their businesses, but for the simple reason there was this hidden jab in as far as strengthening of Chapter 6 on integrity, Miriam. And they knew it very well, that it was going to be very tricky, if not difficult and impossible for them even to have their name on the ballot if this bill would have sailed through. That is why, Miriam, you see, even as we speak today, Deputy President William Ruto will not even want to imagine that BBI will see light of day, because he knows himself and most of those who, of course, coalesce around him will not have an opportunity. They will not have the slightest of chance to even become MCS, let alone even vie for presidency. And that is why they have been vehemently fighting this Building Bridges initiative, Miriam. And I think that it's a very good observation you've made, and I'm very sure Dr. Masanga will largely share the same view with you.
Okay. All right, Doc, as we conclude now.
It is, I just wanted to bring it to your notice that Modibo Keita said the following, which I've put on my timeline for people to read long time ago, about 2 days ago. When the citizens of a nation deem their most accomplished thieves as the most electable, then they lose the right to complain when theft becomes their national creed. Are we together now there?
Absolutely, absolutely, Dr.
Can I go slowly? Can I go slowly? That when the citizens of a nation deem their most accomplished thieves as the most electable, then they lose the right to complain when theft becomes the national
creed.
That is Modibo.
Exactly.
He died in 1977, not 74.
So in other words, what he's saying is you get the leaders you deserve.
Yes, there you are. You are now electing. In fact, if you go to some of these places and shout, say Ruto has got a head like this, they will kill you. Oh, I don't like a Ruto if you are drinking beer in some places. Some people will pick you up. They don't care. They don't want to hear whether you are stolen or what. No. My friend, you are causing care. They don't want to hear. They don't want to hear whether he has a problem. No. People receive money from Kachagwa, from who? Kachagwa comes up on TV, bravado, telling people off as if he knows the weakness of Uhuru Kenyatta. Nobody makes, look, Mudavadi, we are selecting thieves. People are getting handouts. Handouts have created a problem in Mombasa. One man was beaten and his body is brown. It was a brown body, but it has now become red. He was thoroughly beaten. You saw that guy from Mombasa, who was Ruto's right-hand man, beaten by Ruto's people, Hassan Omar and others. And he has released the tape telling Ruto that if you think Mombasa, you have voters, you have none. Isn't this what we have been telling you all the time? Look at what they are doing in the parliament at the moment. They are shouting instead of reasoning. Intellectual capacity has been sunk with greed for money. Thank you very much, viewers. Miriam, Sharon, Olesisana, Douglas, the technical team, and all of you. I want to thank all of you in Nairobi. Thank you very much in Kenya. I want to thank you so much for all you have done. Punchline Africa Television will remain broadcasting, and I will be giving updates, solutions throughout the festival days. Is it festivus? How do you call it? A festival. Throughout the festival mood. Yeah, Miriam, because I'm not going for festival.
Throughout the festivities, Doc. Yeah.
But I can say throughout the festival mood. Yes. You are in the festival. In the mood of festival.
Yes. Yes, I am.
Because I've told you before that anything which is very bad for me, where I'm not taking part, I don't usually pronounce nicely. Like Ruto's name and so on, so many other things. I want to wish you a good journey. Journey, wherever you people are going. Those in the houses, I want to wish you good luck. Oh, that is fantastic, Miriam. That's your son. It looks like you are set to go, isn't it?
He's home now, so.
Yeah, you are set to go. You are about to go. If wherever you are, and the Gitonga, I want to wish you that don't join us. You have placed yourself in Tarakaniti in a good position. You and I, let's remain. And Tawish you are in town. Just remain doing the cowboy life. And when the medium comes, then we shall also disappear. So we shall remain broadcasting. Those who want to hear, mainly we shall be broadcasting in the, if we don't give a program in the morning, the evening time, that could be better for Miriam and others to join. During that time, people will be eating. But our programs will be going on normal. Our studios will be operating. Everything will be working. The radio will be working, but the man, a bit of reorganization here and there. We return fully in operation around 31st, but we shall be in operation at a scaled level. I will myself remain broadcasting from the political command center away from Nairobi, where I will be, but I will be broadcasting together with Sharon, Tawish, and others, and the general headquarters will be operational. Thank you. If you feel you see us staggering on the show, come in and help us, Miriam.
Okay.
Don't disappear completely.
Okay. Doc, before we go, I'd just like to thank our viewers for their continued support, throughout the years and throughout this year. Thank you so much for tuning in, for commenting, for engaging with us, and on behalf of everybody else, and I know Doc will also, we wish you a Merry Christmas and, of course, a Happy New Year coming ahead. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Yes. Anybody who wants to wish our viewers to wish? Sharon? Sharon, pick it. Pick.
Yes.
Wish our.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you very much, Dr. Matanga, first of all, for the opportunity. I think this could be my third or fourth month now, and I would really want to pay our homage for you giving me this chance. It has been a good time. I have really learned a lot, and of course, I would love to wish all our panelists and our crew behind the scenes a Merry Christmas, and of course, even to our viewers, and a Happy New Year. And of course, my concern, and of course, my prayer would be to anyone who's traveling, and even to our viewers, that the roads are quite not the best, and I hope even drivers can observe due diligence and make sober decisions. I remember when I went for my classes, my tutor would say that assume you're the only sober person on the road, so any decision that you make will influence largely. It's quite unfortunate, even with the incident that happened in Chogoria, of 3 Chogoria girls students. So, and that is just there's so much that has been happening, especially during the festivities. So it is also my my prayer, each and every person to adhere to the road regulations. And of course, even for COVID-19, let's also observe, the guidelines that have been rolled out by the Ministry of Health, because we are not out of the woods yet. Right now, the percentage has gone really high. We are almost hitting 30%. So I think these are things that people need to really consider, given that we are not out of the woods yet. And Christmas is gonna come and go, but the disease is not going to escape from us. So let's also be very vigilant, even as we travel, and not to in case you suspect anything, don't really travel to, because we have elderly people there. But in a nutshell, it is to wish each and every person, all our viewers, and each and every all the crew members a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Yes, Tawish.
Okay, thank you so much, Daktari. At the onset, let me say I want to thank the Almighty God for having brought us this far. It's been quite a year, and we've been, of course, handling these topics, handling these shows for the rest of this year. And I think we can only but thank him that we've come this far. Secondly, I want to thank my colleague panelists and, of course, everyone who's been making these shows a success. Including, of course, Miriam Ogutu, and of course, Sharon Gitonga, Douglas Bundi Kirimi, and of course, others, including even Sean Wesonga, and our technical crew, of course, at our headquarters. They have been, of course, steadfast. They have, of course, demonstrated that spirit of teamwork. And for that reason, we have been able really to achieve what we have been able to achieve, despite a few shortfalls here and there, but I would say that together, and if we continue with the same spirit, we will go into greater levels. And Dr. Masanga, yourself, I really want to thank you because you have really provided, of course, good stewardship to the entire team as the leader, and of course, guided us all through, even during this COVID-19 pandemic and the disruptions that it has come with. Of course, you've always led us. And I think that is a great heart and a great spirit coming from a team leader. And this is the kind of prayer that we will wish, even as we go into these festivities and even as we get into the new year, that we will be able continually to do this again and even improve under your stewardship. I want to take this opportunity once more to wish all our members and all our viewers also, because without the viewers, without those who have been watching us and encouraging us, continually making commentary on our submissions and on our programming, it will not have really counted. And because of them, we are always motivated. Our morale has always been bolstered because we know there are people who are listening to us. And when we get this feedback, it only but gives us more morale to continue doing this and even improve on our work. I want to take this opportunity, Dr. Masanga, to wish you and all the entire team a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Hope that we'll all be able to come back and continue with this work healthy and in good form. Thank you, Dr.
Okay. Thank you very much. On behalf of the entire fraternity of Punchline Africa Television, I know we have been through quite a lot, but we shall survive. We shall continue to do it. I want to wish and to thank God for having kept the entire Punchline community intact during these COVID hours. I did not think of being part and a parcel of you or part of this fraternity when the COVID hit most of the people, hit most of the families, hit us. But here we are. God has been very grateful to us. That's the most important thing I want to say today for you to keep. But none of my staff, none of us have tried, have vaccinated. We have done the vaccination, all of us. We now give ourselves to God to help us to see what is coming ahead. And we continue to ask God, oh Father, that you kept all of us. We are not missing anybody amongst us. We are all here, Miriam. We are all here. This day is a great day, especially for me. I'm here. You can see me walking. We are all here, all of us. We thank God. We thank all the people who have helped us, who have sustained us, who, if there are people we have annoyed with our sentiments on this television station, forgive us. But also we shall forgive those who have insulted us with huge insults. Miriam, every day I take 20,000 insults for the defense of the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta. I take 20,000 insults. Some of them, my children, one of my children, the youngest, the 22-year-old one said that, what is this you do, which makes people insult you every day? What is it? Because when she opens my page, she said, what? This is my dad. But I've told her that I went into a very dangerous profession. I must have a skin, a thick skin. And indeed, Miriam, I have a thick skin. And I thank God for keeping me, giving me that strength. But as you know, a Gentile preaching to the Jews is always very difficult. You must have a thick skin like a Paul. Because when Paul came back, people said, but you, who are you? You used to persecute us. I have never persecuted anybody. But I'm preaching to the Jews. I want to thank everybody, those who cannot be mentioned on this television, who have helped us to sustain this television, who have given us support, morally, encouragement, who have done research, my technical team. I want to thank the Southern Cameroon Broadcasting Satellite Station in Bahrain and Johannesburg. Thank you very much. Let's continue to do that. I want to thank my satellite operators in Berlin, Germany. Thank you. You keep us going. We shall start afresh, Miriam. But before we go, I want us to, production team, can you put that thing for us to see? Just 2 minutes, or is it 2 minutes of the show, the promo? I want the approval from my friends. That promo, all of you are here. We want to see whether you like the promo, or if there are any words that you'd like to be put on the promo. Fred, production team, can you put on the promo, please? We want to see the promo. The new promo that you, where Miriam, myself, Tawish, Sharon, and Kirimi, where we are all talking and we're song. The one with words. Want to hear whether these were your good quotes or you want to be quoted in a different way. President Uhuru Kenyatta. Since then, Kenya has seen the peace, the tranquility, the development that it has, the political stability, because of the handshake.
Kenya, as much as we are known to be a peace-loving country, but just don't try us, because we'll be ready to protect, the boundaries in the waters, in land, in whichever, the boundaries we have here. We respect another country's boundaries, and that other country should respect Kenya's boundaries.
We want leaders who come out with tangible policies, tangible agendas, how they are able to make a turnaround in terms of our economy, how we are able to really to make ends meet on our own. And when leaders who are at policy level are able to make policies and laws that are convenient enough, or those that people can be able to do their businesses or go about their daily lives without much of interruption.
That is what democracy is all about. But let us get to a point where we can be able to hold these leaders to the highest level of accountability, not just getting brainwashed, or rather getting into the politics of euphoria, the excitement. Remember, we have these leaders for 5 years. 5 years is not a short time, and garbage in, garbage out.
One thing I'll say that hypocrisy is a vice that cannot be forgiven anywhere in the world, because they say that even the repentance of a hypocrite is hypocrisy itself.
A peaceful people like in Meru who are demonstrating now because of handouts. People cannot go to their farms, people cannot go to their shops, people cannot go to the markets, people cannot go anywhere fighting for handouts because a leader is promising them handouts, or maybe a leader gave out handouts, Miriam.
The way we look at things in the community, in our meat joints, pork joints, chicken points, markets, wherever you are, in the matatus, where you are in a bus, at the airport, at work, this show goes deeper. What do people say? This station is for Africa, with Africa, by Africa. Ciao.
Us to the end of the show today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time, and I think have yourselves a good holiday. Be safe. Still, we have the pandemic here with us. Wear your mask. If you have to be in public spaces, if you can social distance, please do that. We've seen countries across the world where the pandemic now, the numbers have increased, especially with this new variant. So if I know, love yourself enough to ensure that you're safe for you and the people that you love. Still sanitize, wash your hands, and always walk around with a face mask that can protect you effectively when you're out there in public. Thank you so much for watching. We wish you happy holidays, and we will see you soon. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Thank you so much, Samuel Tawish, Sharon Gitonga, Daniel Wasonga, who did not get to join us here, and of course Douglas Kirini, who was with us here, and the rest of the panelists who we've had throughout this year. It has been a pleasure. My name is Miriam Ogutu. Thank you so much for being with us. Bye-bye for now.
The government of Kenya is keen on the development of social economic infrastructure to support the realization of the Big Four agenda and Vision 2030. The ambitious infrastructure projects are aimed at opening up the country for business and bolster productivity, particularly in the agricultural, manufacturing and the service industry, as this would bolster employment opportunities. Part of these critical infrastructure projects include the ongoing 27-kilometer expressway linking Nairobi's Jomo Kenyatta International Airport and Nairobi's Westlands. Upon completion, the expressway will exponentially reduce travel times within Nairobi and thus help the country save man hours, which is being lost in the traffic jams on